My everyday style, I think just like everything, like anything in life, and as you grow, it kind of evolves and it changes. I'm at a point in my life now where I feel like I've kind of retroed back to what I kind of dressed like in high school. I'm 38 years old and my wife tells me all the time, she's like, you look like a kid. And I'm like, fuck these kids, they look like me. That's how I dressed in the early 2000s. And it's kind of just, if I had to put a word on it, it's definitely, I'm a dad now, so it's like comfort. That like kind of like just like the punk hardcore scene and the skateboard scene, so just simple, relaxed. I was actually born in East LA. I was born at White Memorial Hospital. I am a Los Angeles native through and through. I grew up for the first half of my life in South Central. Going into high school, we moved to Van Nuys. So I call Van Nuys like my hometown. That's what kind of like molded and shaped me to, the guy I am today. So even now, still live in LA. I'm in Eagle Rock now. So yeah, LA through and through. Man, retired life is good, I think I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss it a little bit, but all the years that I've put into to fighting, like now, like I wake up with like the aches, a little slow to get out of bed. So I think about it and I'm like, man, do I really want to put myself through an 8-week camp and do it one more time? And I'm like, nah, I'm chilling. I don't know, it's not out of the realm possibility, like if God blessed me, one day I woke up and my knee was 100%, I think about it. Before 40 though, for sure. But life is good, man. I can't complain. I love my life. I have a great partner. I have a wonderful son. Like being a dad is fucking rad. And yeah, now going into full coach mode, it's really cool, man. Like it's dope to see people trust you and people come to you for that knowledge, And like I tell everyone, I wasn't always the best fighter. I don't know it all, but I worked hard. And if I can show you guys that route, then by all means. So it's dope, man. I'm loving retired life for sure. I think that was a big thing with my decision, aside from the injuries, it was a big factor in my retirement. Just being able to dedicate more time to my family, grow my business. I tell her about all the time, like every time I was in camp, I actually lost money because there's so much time taken for training. So yeah, I got more time now, obviously dedicating and growing my business and more family time. So it's cool, man. I definitely think that as a former fighter, there are some advantages on the management side because I've been there, because I've experienced it all. The getting offers, maybe not taking the right fights, not having the right personnel behind me saying, hey, maybe we should hold off on this one. So as a former fighter, as a coach and as a manager, sometimes we get offers for our guys and I'll look at the guy before I even send him over and say, hey, you got this fight offer, what do you think? And then I'll give my 2 cents like, well, he's a really good wrestler, you're gonna have to think about this. So, I think there's definitely an advantage. There's not too many managers in the game that actually laced them up and fought. They haven't experienced the weight cuts, anxiety of fight day and fight week. So I definitely feel like it's something a little extra that we get to offer our clients, especially the guys that I work with. I'm the only manager that really that's gone out there and trained with a fighter for all fight week, that's able to train and cut weight with them. So definitely an advantage. Well, it's hard to say. You don't really make a living as a fighter until you get to the pinnacle of the sport, until you get to a big organization like the PFL or the UFC. You're not really making a living. Like I tell all my guys and I tell all these young cats, it's like, you need something to support the dream. So you need to have a regular job. Better part of my amateur and pro career, I was in the car business for 15 years. The fighting is just living the dream. You're not breaking the bank. But as I got older, I realized, you are a business as a fighter. So I always called it vacation money. I made some good vacation money every time I fought because I marketed myself. Always got support of great sponsors. That always helped. And yeah, as I worked my way up and get a little bit of popularity, you sell tickets, you make money off that, and the purses increased little by little. So yeah, not really making a living off fighting, but you need to make a living to fight. If I had to simplify it, you got to make a living to fight. What I think amateurs could be doing for, to kind of maintain like longevity in the sport is the biggest thing that I can tell anyone, you have to work hard. You can't half-ass it. Because I've been a victim of half-assing shit too, you know, and it showed in some performances. If you're gonna do it, I would advise an amateur, you have to go in 100%. That doesn't mean don't get a job and pay your dues and stuff. Absolutely, you still need to do that. You need to supplement the dream. Just work hard, find yourself a good group of coaches, good team that'll hold you accountable. Accountability is huge. See it time and time again, talented guys kind of drift off to the wayside because they didn't have the right support system. They didn't have the guys, the coaches that are, you know, kind of putting them on the straight and narrow. So yeah, just hard work and surround yourself with good people. Build a good team, a good support system. Ooh, that's a good question. I think they're all eventually gonna get there. I might get some heat. I think definitely, I would say like David Rojas, who trains at CMMA as well. You know, he kind of part-times here with me on the striking stuff. So I think he's definitely next. I think he's got one more fight, maybe a title shot, and then he's ready to go pro. We have guys that are working their way up. You know, we have Jonathan Windland, who's undefeated, 2-0 in kickboxing, 2-0 in MMA, 3-0 in kickboxing, sorry. But the biggest thing for him is time's not too much on his side. You know, he's on the other side of 35, so, you know, for him the time is soon, maybe one more, and you know, just make that jump so you have that experience and, you know, you kind of say, hey, I did it. I fought professionally. I think maybe a couple more for Khalil Pearson. He's, again, you know, he's on the other side of 30. Time isn't necessarily on their side, so you gotta strike while you're in your prime. So I think maybe like 1 or 2 more for Khalil, and he can make the jump, you know, with some good performances. 100%. If you got curling in there, which is like you're Swiffering your kitchen floor, like why? I mean, you know, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but come on, let's keep it real, guys. You guys have the gymnastics with the banners, the I don't know what it's called, the twirling, but I mean, come on, MMA is hands down the hardest sport in the world. Definitely should be in there. And I think that a lot of these guys that maybe aren't in the UFC or maybe even in the UFC, you know, in the big organizations, should have an opportunity to represent their country in their sport. Just like jiu-jitsu should be in the Olympics. Wrestling, I think, just got put back on, or they might have taken it off. I don't know, it's super weird. Like the most challenging sports on earth aren't in the Olympics, which is the stage, you know, the main stage for kind of showcasing your athleticism, right? But yeah, definitely MMA. You know, having MMA in the Olympics would be huge. It would make a great impact because the sport is relatively young. I think it's the fastest growing sport if I'm not wrong. And I think that it would also shed a light on a lot of guys that maybe haven't made their name in a big organization. You know, you get a guy maybe from Mexico, or you get a guy from South America or Central America that no one's heard of, but he goes to the Olympics and shows out. It's gonna open doors, you know, and these big organizations will start looking into these countries like, hey, you know, what other untapped talent is there? Like, let's work our way down. So it's just opportunity, you know, it definitely will only positive things can come from it. I think it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. A lot of times for myself is people that you support will support you back. So if there's your barbershop, right? You've been getting your hair cut with this guy for the last 10 years. Chances are if you say, hey man, I got a fight coming up, could use a little help with my medicals, would you be willing to sponsor me? Chances are they're gonna say yes because you supported their business and now you're a business, they're gonna support you. You see a lot of it now, your local cannabis, you know, shop. If you're a frequent guy, like you just say, hey, like, you know, I fight and this is what's going on. If people fuck with you, they will support you regardless of what your record is, whether you're on the cusp of getting the call or you don't have the best record. People, if they fuck with you, they'll support you. You're gonna get visibility. Not only, I mean, how many photographers do you get at these events? They're publishing photos on their social media platforms. It may go to a media outlet. So you have the opportunity of showing your logo on someone that's out there, kind of like putting their life on the line, right? And that's pretty cool. I think a lot of people in business may be fans of the sport and they don't know how to work their way in, but huge benefits. I mean, and you're also getting access to a whole different crowd. If you own a auto detail shop, you know, and you've never sponsored an MMA fighter, you sponsor one and you'd be surprised. You know, people are gonna say, hey, I need a detailer. That fighter may tell this person like, hey, hit up my sponsor. they do great work, whatever. And now the biggest marketing tool is obviously social media. I think if any business, if you have any type of social media presence, definitely advantageous to you know, support a local guy. Support a local guy that's gonna get your logo out there, tell all his friends, followers about your business. It's more personable, you know? Like these fighters have a following, they have relationships with the people that follow them. So, you know, invest in someone that, you know, is gonna put you out there. There's still a long way to go. You know, it pulls on the heartstrings when you see the growth and you see these people come in to work and genuinely enjoy being here. So like I said, a long way to go, but man, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. You know, I tell all my guys and I tell everyone, like, we're the rookies in the game. Like, I'm a rookie coach. I've coached before, but I wasn't able to dedicate all my time because I was still fighting. But now that I'm all in, you know, I got my Ted Lasso going on. I'm trying to inspire. It's amazing, man. It's amazing to see the growth. I know that we still have a long way to go, but I like the progress we've made in this short time, you know, since my retirement. I think anybody that's walked through these doors genuinely feels the good vibes. Like, we all just vibe off of each other. You know, I've always wanted to create a culture within a gym where everyone feels like family. And I think we've given that to even some of our guys that don't fight. Come in and train with the fight team, help them get ready for fights, go to the fights, you know, buy tickets, buy merch. And that's just a part of, you know, it's just a culture we've created. A support system, a place where people feel safe, a place where people want to just go and like genuinely like, yo, like that's home. I mean, I feel every fight is a special moment, especially the wins, especially the wins that are in dramatic fashion. You know, I still feel myself get a little nervous because I've been in their shoes, you know. I think a highlight so far for this year has been, yo, we're 3-0. We've started the year 3-0. You know, we had Johnny Windland go viral with his knockout at UNF. I think it's like over 2 million views on TikTok or something like that. I think even like, you know, the last event, you look at David, you know, shutting down the Matrix with his crafty defense, you know, in his fight. They're all special moments, but yeah, definitely the highlight this year is we're 3-0, and that's the plan, that we keep just winning fights. You know, running a business is definitely, anybody that owns a gym will tell you, it's not easy. You know, it takes time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. You know, for me, since I've retired, I've noticed how much of my time this takes up. I mean, it's all a part of the growth. Biggest piece of advice I would give is same thing. You build a team that you can trust. You you try to gather up coaches that can help, you know, the next generation that you're trying to help, and just have the time. And, you know, I'll tell everybody, like, if you're still actively fighting and you want to coach, it's going to be hard, because, you know, it's a selfish sport and it's all about you. That's why for me, I didn't open up to classes and building an actual team until I retired. Yes, I trained guys that fought while I was still actively fighting, but looking back on it now, you know, I kind of feel bad, because I'm like, man, I should have dedicated a little more time to this guy, but at the same time I was worrying about my training camps and my recovery and what I had coming up. Just be ready to give your all to if you seriously want to be a coach, you want to be a great coach, you got to be all in. You can't be half in the cage and half out the cage, you know? So I wrote that though, don't steal that from me. Next for Matador training is our expansion, and I think anyone that's close to me, all my friends and people that walk through our door have seen the little bit of growth that we're already starting to make. You know, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and yeah, it's just expansion, growing our schedule, growing the team. Yeah, that's next, and, you know, hopefully more wins. Go to school. If I can tell anything to 18-year-old me, I'd probably tell them, go to school. I'll tell that to anybody, man. Like, fighting is hard, guys. Fighting is hard, it's selfish, you're gonna be broke. It's gonna put a strain on relationships, it's going to keep you away from life. I feel like I'm just starting to really enjoy life, man. Like, I drink and I eat whatever I want, without any words. My life revolved around the scale for 15 years, so yeah, go to school. Dope. Oh, my man. Appreciate you, bro.